All right, welcome back. We continue live right here on Pittsburgh CW. Join us at 412-575-2600 or tweet at KDPomp. A lot going on today. We have some tweets I want to get to real quick before we go to the lines because they are buzzing as well. Rob Gateway on Twitter says, Bob, is it too early to declare the McCutchen trade a success with getting Reynolds or Crick in that deal? I mean, it suited their purposes, certainly. They didn't have to get the kind of money distributed to Andrew McCutchen. Those two guys have been good so far. Yes, but again, these things, sometimes you have to analyze them 3 years down the road. It could turn the other way, for all we know. Just as Archer right now, that trade is being, looked at as a complete failure. That can also turn the other way. Glasnow's now out. Those two guys have really done well. Meadows, especially Glasnow when he was there, and Archer hasn't. And I think if Archer had done what I think the Pirates expected him to do, this trade would have benefited them and also them. So we'll see. But at this point, I still think it's too early to tell. Cal Hammer 1 says, do you think the Pirates' secret starter tomorrow night might be Mitch Keller? No, because he just pitched the other day, I think. Doubleheader coming up on Monday. I think that could be the way to go. But thanks for the tweets. You can let us know what you think there or on the lines. We're going to begin tonight with John and Cranberry. Hey, John, welcome to the Sports Call. How are you tonight?
No, good, Bob. How are you?
Hanging in there.
Yeah, you talk a lot about potential with guys in the minors, like Meadows and Glasnow.
Right.
We got traded. They got traded, and they got Archer in return. They got a 31-year-old pitcher that isn't doing anything, and you got Glasnow and Meadows that are just kicking butt. I don't understand how you trade potential for a guy who has the best years behind him.
What I have to say about that is you go back to the time of the trade. Chris Archer was one of the guys that I think a lot of teams were in on and wanted. And Tampa knew that. And as a result, they jacked up the price, and I think to be competitive, and the Pirates wanted to make a splash play in terms of giving them a chance to get to a wild card. It did not work out. Thanks for the call. It was as, opposite as you would have expected. And he's not gone long into games. So far, he's not been anywhere near, the potential, the resume. Now, I'm not saying he's an ace because he's not an ace, but he is a top 3 pitcher, and he should be putting up better results. And I'm still too early to analyze it all. But, yeah, the early review's not good just because Glasnow and Meadows have been good. And those two guys, not so much Meadows, but Glasnow struggled. They gave him chances here. They just didn't see it working. Whatever happens, sometimes pitchers take a while to blossom, and sometimes it takes going to another team. I don't think anyone saw Charlie Morton turning into what he's turned into after he fell flat on his face here. He went to Philadelphia. It was worse. Everyone thought his career was over. And now all of a sudden he's a $30 million pitcher down in Tampa after nearly winning a Cy Young last year. Line 3 we go. That's Pete in Squirrel Hill. What's up, Pete? How are you?
Hey, Bob. How are you tonight?
I'm well, thank you.
Hey, Bob. Every time I hear the Pirates post-game show and stuff like that, they're calling Josh Bell young. Bob, he's not young. Acuna Jr.'s young. Bellinger's young. He's 26 years old, Bob. He's going to be 27.
It's not old.
He's the same age as Mike Trout, Bob.
Okay, but, he had a really good year 2 years ago where he hit all those home runs, and then last year was not so much. I think given where he had fallen, a lot of people wondered. I don't know why that even matters other than you're trying to compare. I get it. But
if you look at,
let me ask you this. Wait, Pete. Let me ask you this. Who's your MVP? If you had to pick one right now, MVP for the National League, if we gave it after 2 months, and I know you don't do that, but just to play the game, who would it be?
The guy that leads the major leagues in 5 different categories, Bellinger. Hits, average, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, okay?
Wait a minute. He doesn't lead in RBIs because Bell does. My point about this is it's the lineup versus the Pirate lineup, which has been erratic, inconsistent. The Dodgers, not so much. They have a lot of guys in their lineup who I think protect Bellinger.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Looking forward, if you look at their careers thus far in baseball and going forward, who would you rather have as your cornerstone, a guy that's 22 or a guy that's 26?
Well, listen, I understand that. But I also think, Bell was a guy that had a big ceiling when they acquired him in the draft. Everybody was shying away. The Pirates weren't. They gave him a lot of money, and they expected this to happen. And boy, he's worked, and I think that Sports Illustrated article that people just ripped him, said he wasn't going to develop. And there's motivation out there, folks, and people use it for whatever. He has just quietly gone about on a busy offseason, worked. He's putting up the numbers now. You can't ignore it. Let's go to Jim in Claysville. Hey, Jim, welcome to the Sports Call. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, Bob.
Hey.
Bob, with the All-Star game coming up, I'm hoping that Josh Bell doesn't volunteer to be in the home run derby. Remember, a couple players messed up their swing. I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's a good point.
How do you feel?
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, unless it's changed in the last couple of days, Bell leads National League in exit velocity, which means he is pounding the ball. He's hitting it in the river. How many 2 home run games has he had? I think last night, if he had gotten one, it would have been his 4th. So, you know, I understand what you're saying because it is a valid point. Sometimes you can change your golf swing by trying to crush it, and you end up getting away from tempo that has served him well. So
that's what I mean.
Right. I mean, I don't know, but I'd love to see him in there just because of the way he's hitting.
The other thing, Bob, and I like the way Hurdle's doing it, and I'd be the same way with Bell.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, come to Bell and say, you're my first baseman unless you talk to me and want to, you know, for some reason have to have the day off. But I don't want to, you know, put him in, you know, sit him out just on the bench for a while.
He doesn't want to sit out, and he hasn't sat out. He's played in every game. He's played almost, I think, just about every inning. Thank you very much for the call, as usual. But, no, I love that. I love that attitude. I wish more guys would do it. I don't necessarily understand it, but that's the way it goes. One more before we go to break, and that would be Brad in Punxsutawney. What's up, Brad? How are you?
Good, Bob. Hey,
Good.
I'm going to preface my comment with, number one, the Penguins organization winning 2 Stanley Cups in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, they've been successful. They
Sure.
know what they're doing. They've made a lot of good moves. With that being said, I just want to go on record as saying, if we're going to trade Phil Kessel, which I'm against, you're talking about a guy that averaged a point a game, who did not play on the number 1 line, at times got shuffled back between the 2nd and 3rd line, and they've had a consistent player in him. I know he drives Sullivan nuts, but with that being said, you know what you have in him, and if you're going to pick up somebody at $5 million a year and a 4.6, I just don't think $6.8 million is that absorbent. I'm going to hang up.
All right.
No,
I think there's a lot of this. Number one, those 2 guys have long-term deals. Number 2, it's cheaper than Kessel. Number 3, if you throw Jack Johnson into this and create more space, you know, the wrench, as I said, is Kessel has a limited no trade clause. I don't know who's all on that clause, and I don't know what he can do or veto. But I think they want to get younger, too. These 2 guys are younger. The Penguins got older. They're one of the older teams, but they're going to keep their core players together. He's one of those guys that you can see, you know, there was talk about Letang, Malkin, Kessel. Of those 3, I always thought Kessel would be the first to go if, and that's saying, you know, tremendous job in Pittsburgh, Phil. Everybody loves you. I thought you got along with everybody here pretty much, maybe not the coaching staff, but pretty good, successful trade. They're going to move on from that. I think at some point that's definitely going to happen, and maybe right now. We got to take a break. Waylon, Ernest, Don, all coming up. This is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on the Bordas and Borders Hotline, 7 nights a week. Pittsburgh, see you.